Welcome to the Coop with Kit. My name is Kit Hoover, and I have been lucky enough in my 30 years in this business to interview some of the most iconic, badass women out there. We all know that girlfriends give the best advice, and they're all coming to the Coop. We're talking career, marriage, kids, sex, aging, all of it. I truly believe we are just hitting our stride. All right, my chickens, let's get into it. Rock and freaking roll. Today on The Coop, we have none other than Melissa Etheridge. She's the queen of heartfelt anthems and the powerhouse voice behind hits like Come to My Window and I'm the Only One. You know Melissa for her raspy, soulful sound, passionate activism, and unforgettable live performances. Now with her new album, I'm Not Broken, and her doc, she's back and better than ever. This badass Grammy and Academy Award-winning woman has navigated the ups and downs of fame, battled and beat breast cancer, faced unthinkable heartbreak in losing her son to addiction, and emerged a stronger, deeply spiritual, and more vibrant artist, wife, and mother. She's full of wisdom, grit, swagger, and that unmistakable rock and roll spirit. Here is the legendary Melissa Etheridge. There she is. Bring me some water, my favorite, Melissa. I gotta hear this part. I know. This was my jam, Melissa. Woo! Sorry, someone else is making love to you. Hi, Melissa Etheridge. Are we recording, Christian? We're in. Hi, my friend.
Hi.
This is so cool for us. One thing we do on the Coop here, Melissa, we start off every episode with one word to describe where you are in your life right now.
Oh, anticipation, because it's a little less than 2 weeks away from the release of the documentary. And I'm about 4 days away from starting my tour. And my new album comes out just after that.
I'm Not Broken.
I'm Not Broken. And so I am just waiting, anticipating all the yummy stuff.
Have you always been like this with all of your albums? Like we came in with Bring Me Some Water from 1988, my jam. Did you feel these same feelings back then?
Oh, I was a completely different person. You know, when you're 27 or 28, you want it to happen right now. You can't wait, you know, and I enjoy it. Now I'm like, ooh, no, let it take its time. I'm ready for it to just reveal itself as I'm going along. But back then I wanted it all right then and there.
By the way, I read this great article in The Activist about you, and I love how they described you. They said, there's a swaggering self-confidence and a soulfulness to Etheridge. She would make a great existential cowboy. Giddy up, Melissa. That is so badass.
Cowboy. I like it. I like it.
Well, when I was
that's
on,
sweet.
isn't that
Thank
sweet? When I was on your Instagram and it gives your title and it says Mother Rock Star Activist. So let's dive in to your three components. Your mom, growing up, you've talked a lot about this in your book. I'm really mad at her. She did the best she could.
She did the best she could.
She did. Listen, that comes with age, right? That's our Southern. Yes. Bless her heart.
Let it go. Let it go.
But I think what's fascinating about you is here with your mom battling alcoholism, depression. You're sexually abused by your sister. Can't even get into that. But what I'm interested in, Melissa, how did you pull yourself out of that? How did you stay rooted in love?
Well, my first thing I did was to fall in love with music. Music heals so much. And when you're little, sometimes you don't know, you kind of think it's all your fault, and you kind of just, you get these weird beliefs in your head. And so, you know, in the beginning, it wasn't easy, but music was the way to get out of it. I could be someone else when I sang. I could give that person all this swagger and confidence. And the more I did it, the more reward I got. You know, I started actually singing in front of people when I was 12 or 13. And so my whole high school was a little strange in that I would go on the weekends and play in these bands in bars and stuff. My father would come with me.
That's so cool.
You know, then going out in the world in Boston and Los Angeles, trying to make it, trying to get signed, trying to become whatever I was going to be, you know, then you're living life. You're living life every day and having relationships, getting to know yourself. And it wasn't until, gosh, cancer really kind of put everything, like cancer when I was like 43.
Yeah.
Because in my 30s, I had this fame in the 90s and it was really big, and fame is a funny thing. It kind of comes and goes and you're left with, wait, what was that? and I liked what I do, so I just keep doing it and kind of get away from the fame.
But was the light always in you? Because I think of some other friends of mine that have
That's the
grown up.
question.
That's the question. Did you grow into, or was always in you so that your past doesn't define your future?
Oh, yeah. But I think we all have that light inside of us. We all have that something that makes us want to make whatever we have in front of us better.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're here to do. Is
I don't think you're giving yourself
better.
enough credit. It's one thing I fell in love with in reading your story. I'm serious. I think about you as a child, and you're just rooted in love. It's so in you that I marvel at people like you, Melissa. I really do. So I was thinking, how do you manifest gratitude?
Gratitude is the key.
Yep.
Gratitude is absolutely the key. You have to change your beliefs. Your beliefs are things that, like I said, that come from experiences in our childhood. Some of us have trauma inside of us. Some of us has just beliefs that we don't even know are there. And once you kind of start saying, I'm having this experience, nobody else is having it but me. And I can't make someone else's experience for them.
Yeah.
Everyone's in charge of that. They're all doing their own choices. And once you kind of get yourself out of it, then it makes it easier to go, oh, well, there's things I can be grateful for, because the act of being grateful brings on a feeling that then you can put more gratitude on, and it grows. And it, before you know it, you learn, you're manifesting that, and you're learning to instantly, when you look at something, instead of judging it, going, what can be fearful for me? What's going to hurt me? You look for, oh, what can I be grateful for? And then that's how you turn your life around, because you don't give your manifesting power any momentum for scary, fearful things.
Did you hear that, listener? See, there goes my badass existential cowboy right there. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm putting that on a T-shirt for you. And then you're a mom yourself. Did you always want to be a mom, Melissa?
Nope.
Really?
No, it was not. It was not on my radar. I knew very young that I was gay. I mean, I pretty much figured out at 15 or 16. But even before that, my mother was not your mothering kind of person. She was very intelligent. She did the best she could.
She did the best she could. We'll just keep saying that quite. She did the best she could.
But there wasn't a whole lot of mothering going on. So I didn't feel the desire to, I really want to mother someone, because I didn't know mothering, and then, I'm gay. Well, that takes care of that. I'm not going to have kids. And then in the 90s came, and all of a sudden the gays were talking about marriage and things. And my partner was like, hey, I want to have a baby. And I went, really? Oh, this is interesting. And I was a little afraid that I wouldn't know how to mother. But man, once you start, there's no turning back. You're a mom.
I love the story, Melissa, and you wrote about it in your book, and you've talked about it. I love how honest you are with everything. Me, I've covered sports and I cover celebrities, and everybody's so hidden and private. And you're like, yep. And David Crosby's the sperm donor.
Yes.
Okay. You're in Hawaii. You're on a family vacation with the Crosbys. Like, tell me what you're wearing, where you're sitting, what you're drinking, what you're smoking, how this conversation came about.
Okay, so before then, my partner at the time, we had decided, you know what, we want to have children. And one of the things was, she had been adopted, and she didn't know who her parents were. And she didn't want her children to not know who their father was. They didn't need to be in their lives.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes.
Yeah, she just wanted them to know. So the idea of just an anonymous sperm donor wasn't in the cards for her. And I understood that. And so we had to start thinking, and my rule was, well, it has to be someone who doesn't want to father this, doesn't want to be a parent in this child's life.
No, it's going to be you and your partner. Yes, but we can know
Yeah,
them.
so that's when we ruled out my good friend Brad Pitt, because he really wanted children.
Hang on a minute. I always thought, by the way, my name is Kit, of course. I thought Kit Pitt had a great ring, Melissa. It didn't happen.
Come on.
But, okay, wait. Did you ever talk about it with Brad? Because I know you
We
sang
would
at his wedding.
joke.
Yeah.
We would joke about it, and I would say, people would say, "Well, Melissa, what's Brad Pitt to you?" I'd say, "The father of my children," and I would joke around it because he was kind of that friend at the time, and doesn't everyone want to have children with one of the most handsome men in the world? Sure, but I knew how much he wanted children, and I was like,
Yes. No.
he's gonna be
Want
way
too much of an involvement.
Of course, my daughter's like, I could have looked like Brad Pitt.
Haley's like, hang on, Mom.
I know, that's right.
Wait, first of all, how did that friendship come about? I know you performed at Brad and Jen's wedding, but I don't even know how the friendship started.
Okay, in my 20s, when my first album came out, my first girlfriend I had worked on her husband had worked in the film industry. So she had a connection of a lot of these young actors and actresses. And two of them one was Dermot Mulroney and Catherine Keener. They were, a couple. And, when you're 27, 28, and you don't have any kids and everything, you get together with your friends all the time. And Catherine was doing this low budget movie nobody really ever heard of, with this actor that came from Missouri. And she said, "Hey, it's his birthday. He's a big fan of yours. Will you sing him happy birthday?" Because my first album was out. And so his name is Brad. So I sang to him when he was on the set, and he was all excited. So when he came back home to LA, I met him and we started hanging out, and it was cool because he knew I was gay, and he sometimes really beautiful men, they really enjoy just hanging with a woman that has no interest in them. And it's really a great relationship. And so we were just a group of young Hollywood. It was really a cool group for that time, from like
Who else was in the
1988.
group? I mean, this is the most
Oh, yeah.
badass group of all time.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was Dermot, Catherine, the Phoenix brothers, River Phoenix at the time was still alive. And Megan Mullally she was just this girl. A lot of people that were just trying really hard to get in. At the time, Ellen DeGeneres was a good friend of mine, and Rosie O'Donnell. They were just stand-up comedians. Benjamin Bratt, he would come by. God, there was just, people would drop in and out. There was just a real nice core of people that for about 6 years, we all hung together. Then we all got really famous.
You all hit. I mean, there wasn't an egg sucker in the bunch. I mean, this is
in
unbelievable.
The mid-90s, just went bang. And it was really fun. It was great to see everybody.
I think there needs to be a reunion. That is super cool.
It was a special time. So, but then we actually went on a separate vacation to Hawaii. But it happened to be the same island that David and Jan were on.
Oh, so you weren't even with them. They just happened to be there.
No, we weren't. But they said, hey, we were at this hotel, and they were actually staying in Hanalei Bay in the same area. And they said, why don't you come see us? So we kayaked over to them.
With the idea to talk about this? Or
No,
okay.
with the idea to just hang with
out.
them.
Okay.
So we're hanging, and they just had their son, Django. And we were ooh and ahhing over the baby. And it just sort of came out, hey, we're also thinking about having children, and, we're thinking about donors. And Jan, David's wife, said, well, what about David? And I was like, what? Are you offering up your husband? What?
This night's about to get really interesting.
I know. So it was like, okay. But it's like, well, we'll think about that. Well, that's really great. And so we sort of went away, and the more we thought about it, he's a musician.
Yeah.
He's, an artist, and he's close enough that he's okay with just being, bio dad, which is what Bailey calls him. And also he has his own children. He's got more than he even knows about. And it fit. And I was like, wow. And at the time we weren't going to tell anybody. But then after Beckett was born, my second, and also by David, paparazzi was getting kind of intense. And I just didn't want my kids to go to preschool and someone hanging out, go, who's your daddy? Something like that.
Yeah.
And
I think
so I was
the
like,
way you handled it was perfect. And what a great story, and what a great part of your life he was. And it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And how would your kids, Melissa, describe you?
Oh my God. Well, I was listed in Beckett and Bailey's, the iPhone. They had me in the address book under Big Papa. So, yes, to do with the rap song. It was crazy. I was like, okay. But that's That's the energy they've always felt, is that they're safe with me. They know that I'm funny. They can joke with me, but they know that I'm there for them, and they've never once complained that I wasn't there when they needed me.
Do they like your music?
Some, like Miller, my son, he doesn't want to know anything about it. He's 17-year-old boys. Not many of them are my fans.
By the way, so I have a 17-year-old son, and I was playing Bring Me Some Water, and we were rocking out in the kitchen.
Okay, so he did.
Okay,
So
yeah.
sometimes I can get him that way, but if it was you singing, he would not like it. So, because it's your mom. But the girls, they are fans of my music, and that's really nice.
Well, you and I talked when we were together on set about your son, Beckett. And there's so much to learn from this. And before we get in, you lost him to opioid addiction. And on that note, I think you and I spoke about that day. Addiction waits for nobody. I've lost family members to it. But I want to know, tell me what made Beckett sparkle? What made him shine?
Oh, Beckett. Beckett was a Scorpio. And someone once described him as, when he is happy, the whole room was happy.
Oh,
But when he was sad, the whole room was you knew it.
Yep.
He was one of those people that, man, he loved his brothers and sisters. He should have been born as a mountain man. He should have been born to fight the elements, because he had that soul. It was tough for him in the cities. He really didn't like the cities, but we would go fishing and he would go snowboarding and he would go mountain biking. And that's why I kept trying to get him to Colorado and let him really be with the other mountain men in Colorado and everything. He wasn't much for school. I'm sure if 20 years ago I thought about it and had him tested, he'd be somewhere on some spectrum or something. Organized school just drove him
it's
mad.
not for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, he would look out the window, even as a child, and young child, just couldn't do it. And he wanted so much, but it's called something, but it's when you look at something that needs to be done and it seems so far away that you can't even get started.
Yeah.
And he would never be able to do that.
He couldn't start the momentum with it.
Yeah, he couldn't start anything that he felt might be hard. But he was so delightful. He would make us laugh and laugh and laugh. He was amazing.
For anybody dealing with a child with addiction, is there any advice, any sage advice you could share, or anything that you'd like to tell yourself going through it that you wish you had done differently? And now a word from our sponsors. Have you heard of Olakai? When I kick off my ridiculous high heels for Access Hollywood, Olakai is my go-to footwear. I found them when I was searching for the best flip-flop that also gives me the greatest support for my high arches, which has been impossible for me to find until now. Olakai is a super cool brand known for their anywhere aloha spirit and Hawaiian roots. They make shoes for every type of occasion, and now this includes the most comfortable and stylish pickleball and golf shoes. Hello! My favorite part is that the heels naturally go down to make every one of their shoes a slide. How genius is that? I promise you will love anything you get from them. And for Coop listeners, free shipping on any order at olakai.com. That's OLUKAI.com. Use code COOP and get your Olakais delivered ASAP to enjoy the summer. Mahalo. Coop Chicks, I am so fired up. I have discovered the most fabulous new female-owned botanical skincare line out of Nashville, Tennessee called Emma Jean & Co. for company. Using skincare products from natural ingredients is more important to me than ever. And Dr. Allison Brennan, the founder of Imogene & Co., is a trained pharmacist and has formulated products that I have never experienced before. They smell amazing, and her products cleanse, nourish, and hydrate. I seriously have noticed an incredible difference in my skin since using Imogene & Co. I am currently obsessed with their Glow Vitamin C Serum. This is the most potent and natural vitamin C serum I've ever used. It helps build collagen and bye-bye crow's feet. Equally, I really love their Revitalize face oil. I slather it on to start and to end my day. Give Imogene & Co. a try. Go to imogeneandco.com. That's EMOGENEAND co.com and use Coop 20 for 20% off. Ladies, are you like me and have looked everywhere to find your favorite white tee and tank? Well, look no further. I have found them at Aaron Gray. This will be your new go-to favorite white t-shirt brand. Custom designed in my hometown of ATL, Atlanta, and made of pure Pima cotton from Peru. You will never take it off. This pre-wash and pre-shrunk material is exclusive only to Aaron Gray and no annoying tags. How great is that? I am so happy and I feel so good every time I put these on. I have finally found my go-to tee. Aaron Gray is 100% women-owned and operated and gives 10% of profits back to cancer research every year. Go to aarongraydesign.com. That's ERINGRAY design.com. Use code COOP20 for 20% off. And now, back to the Coop.
Well, I don't know. It's the hardest thing you'll ever go through.
It's the unimaginable.
And it tears you up inside because this is your, young adult, your young, who's still a child to you. The only thing I could say is you have to take care of yourself. You cannot be any help to anyone else if you yourself are depleted and constantly worrying, constantly trying to fix it for your child is such a stress. It will make you sick.
It'll make you sick.
And you will be sick, and then your other children or your partner will suffer. Everyone's going to suffer. The family suffers so much when someone's going through this because it's like, well, we need to be away from this. But I love this person. It's really, really hard.
I don't know if you talked about or wrote about it, but I love how you describe now sort of navigating the grief, that you like to focus on the positive and the good memories because that's when you feel closest to him. And if you focus on the death or the addiction, you feel further away from him. Can you elaborate on that? Because I have a friend who just dealt with this, and I just wanted to share that with her because I think that's so poignant.
Yeah. I have a deep belief that we are spiritual beings and we're all having a human experience. We're all physical, but we have something, people call it soul, spirit, source, whatever. We are this being inside this physicalness. Now, when this physical, I call it a meat suit.
Yeah.
When it is done, when it expires, your soul does not. Your soul is eternal. And I believe that, I don't know the way to describe it, but I believe that there is a physical manifested reality that we are in, that we are experiencing through these meat suits. And then there's also a non-physical space, which is actually more than this reality that we're creating and experiencing. But that non-physical place is a place with no resistance, and there is no there's no conflict there, and it's all love. And there's the pain that we know in this focus, because this focus is duality. It's good and bad, and it's these two things, so we can experience it. The non-physical, where everyone is, that's just love.
Yeah.
So the only time I can vibrate with that non-physical experienced, my father, my son, my mother now, my grandmother, all these beloved people, is to vibrate with love.
Yeah.
And that's remembering and bringing them in, and that's when they're the closest, because they don't have the grief anymore. They are out of
The
pain. That pain
struggle.
does not exist there.
I like to think of Beckett up in heaven with your dad.
Oh yeah.
There's
Oh
just
yeah. They're
they're
fishing,
fishing,
biking, they're
running wild in
walking.
the mountains. What about, Melissa? You talked about shame. How do you let go of any
Mm.
shame that might creep in for somebody that loses a child to addiction?
Well, the big part that really helped me get through is that I had been sick before. I had had breast cancer 20 years ago, cancer-free now.
Woo!
20. Yeah. And so,
I hate effing cancer. I hate
yeah.
it so much. I really
Yes.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet we're figuring it out more and more what it is. And stress has a big part in it. I know now when I stress myself, and shame is big. And
Big.
it was big while Beckett was alive. I was ashamed that he couldn't stay in high school. I was ashamed that he got kicked out. It's like, what are people going to think about me? And when you start worrying about what other people think about you, you're lost. You
Yeah.
are lost in shame. That's not going to work. And it's hard because we were raised being told to care about what other people think about you. But 20 years ago, I put it in my head, what other people think about me is none of my
None of
business.
my business. And you're one that you really practice what you preach. So anybody that can take a little nugget away from that, I just
Because it
appreciate
works.
because it works.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about your career, but you got discovered, if my facts are correct, a mile from where I live, Melissa, because I live in Pasadena. So you got discovered. Was it Vernon's? What was the name, Harper? Vermin's Bar. Give me what you're wearing, your foxy hairstyle, and what do you remember about that night?
I had a mullet.
It was
mullet
kind of a
was-
spiky mullet. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good because, and I loved it. And I really wish I could wear it for the rest of my life because it kept hair out of my face. One, you shave the side and then
Yes.
you've got all spiky
We
on top.
loved it.
But man, I knew how to do it, and I could do it up, and I looked great. And man, when it went away, I was like, wait, what am I going to do with my hair
Now
now?
I got this gorgeous blonde hair.
What am I
Bring
gonna
it
do?
back.
But it was the 1980s. And I got discovered in like 86, but my album didn't come out till 88. So, man, it was 80s. It was vintage clothes. We were thrifting before anybody knew what thrifting was. And I was just that sort of off the beaten path lesbian singer, but I wasn't. I was really against like the lesbian, song, folk songs.
Soulful,
That was not
folksy,
me.
folksy. No,
No,
you're
I was
Joplin.
rocking.
You're
I was
bringing it in.
rocking
But
and having
so
fun.
when you got discovered, was there ever a time any music execs or anybody tried to put you in a box? Is there anything that they were like not ready for you or told you to be something else?
I was turned down by almost every single record company. Turned me down because they had to go out to the women's bar to see me play.
Interesting.
And they were always men, always men. One guy would come out and then he'd bring another the next weekend and they'd talk about it. And then like Warner Brothers and A&M and EMI, they all, Virgin too. I'm like, oh, this is going great. And then they would bring the head guy and then they would all go, no, we don't hear a hit song.
Please.
I don't know. It
Please.
might be the drunk lesbians around you. I'm not sure, but but it just over and over would happen, and until finally Chris Blackwell walks into a woman's bar. It's not a joke, but he walks into the bar and he sees me sing 4 songs. I take a break and go over to him. He goes, I don't know why you're not signed. I'm going to sign you to my label like right then and there. It was just boom.
During that time, did you ever get discouraged and think, I'm not going to do this anymore? Or you just, it's in your soul?
Yeah, I got discouraged. It was the only thing I knew. And I was making enough to make a living. So I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to. So I was like, I'm just going to do this. And if I'm in a bar singing my whole life, great, I'll be singing. And that makes me happy.
When do you write, Melissa? Like, what's your process? Because for me over here, I don't have a musical bone in my body. So for me, it's magic. Like, how do you create this? Do you set a time to do it or it just comes to you sporadically? Morning, night? How do you do it?
Before I had children, I would write all day long. I would write in the bus. I would just I would have a guitar on my bed all the time, and I would just write all through my 20s and early 30s. Then I had children, and that takes up a lot of your
Yeah.
time, and I had to start planning out. So now I actually go through phases. I haven't written a whole album in about 5 years, which has been the longest I've ever gone. I've written a song here and there, so I have to make time. And that's like from 10 to 2. I'm like, this is my time. I'm in here working, leave me alone. You can't, I'm not
So,
available.
wow. So, is it always flow for you or like,
No, but I let it be okay if it's not flowing. I don't ever think of it as writer's block. I just think that I haven't made myself in the mood enough. I'm not aligned enough with a good feeling to be able to write. So I don't ever force myself. If it's not there after about half an hour, I leave and I say, okay, I'm available now.
if you had to think of your career before we get to your new album and the docu-series,
Mhm.
what would be the rose and thorn of your career?
Oh,
I know my rose. Don't get me going on the inauguration. When you came out with that bald head, Melissa, I was going bananas. The Grammys, the Grammys.
the Grammys, yes. That's what I was trying to pick between that when I sang with Bruce
Oh,
Springsteen
yeah.
on Unplugged
Remember how
and
great Unplugged was? God, that was awesome.
and this documentary too, but that hasn't happened yet. So those I'm really, really proud of.
Okay, wait. So the
And
Grammys, tell me about that moment.
well, I had been diagnosed in October of 2004, and then I started chemotherapy treatment in November. So I was doing chemo November and December. It was long. It was horrible. It was stage 3. It was just hideous. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I finally stopped my chemo treatments because I was like, my chemo's going to kill me. I didn't have any cancer in me. It was just the prophylactic chemo, and it was just really horrible. So the day that I'd said that, the next day, I got a call from the producers of the Grammys who said they're doing a tribute to Janis Joplin, and they wanted me to do it. And it was like in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, well, tell them I'm going to be bald because I don't have any hair and I might be a little weak because I had to start radiation. So the morning of the show, I went and got radiation.
What?
And yeah, and then I went to the rehearsal and I rehearsed. And then I got up and did it with Joss Stone. And I just didn't want anyone to laugh at me because of my head.
Oh,
And then I
no one
didn't
was laughing.
realize, I know nobody was laughing at all. And I tell you, it's still to this day, people come up to me and say things about that performance and how they saw it or their mother. And a couple years ago, I was in Barnes and Noble, and I was headed up to the desk that they help you, find the book at. And there was a man talking to someone, and right next to him was a young teenager, probably 12, 13 years old, in a wheelchair, and she had bald
Ugh.
hair. And I feel so for especially a young person going through it. And I just leaned down and I said, hey, hope I don't know what I said, but the father turned and looked and saw me. And he said, oh, hey, Celia, that's the woman from the video I showed you.
And I love that you know that's the woman. You're the woman.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. See, there we go
Mm.
again. Badass existential cowboy. Okay. Do you see the through line? And by the way, I love that I confused the two stories. I love the Bill Clinton inauguration where you
Yep.
came out with the
That's me coming
badass
out as
moment.
queer.
That's your life. It's like, okay, it's like there's so much, Melissa. There's so much. I'm all over the map. Okay, wait. So for that moment, for the inauguration, was it even planned or did you just get caught up? Take me inside.
Well, that was, so it's 1992, and my third album is kind of running its course. And I'd been doing some interviews with people, and they would change the pronouns to my boyfriend. And I was like, I didn't say that, and I was always trying to be real vague and wasn't gender specific. And I just started thinking, man, this is wearing me out. I want to be out, but especially because I had some great friends that were leaders in the gay and lesbian community. They were the ones that were,
Leading the
picketing
charge.
Reagan and, Bush about AIDS. They were like ACT UP and all this, and they were laying their lives on the line for this. They're like, here, come to this, do a fundraiser for that. And I was like, I've got to do something. I can do something. I had no idea what would happen. And I just started thinking, I don't want to be in the closet. I don't want people to if they liked, if they knew I was gay, they wouldn't listen to my music. That's weird. Then don't listen to my music. And so I was thinking about it, and I thought, okay, when my next album comes out, I'll go on Arsenio Hall and I'll
For
come out
the
because
dog pound.
yeah, because he was cool and he was modern, and I
Yes.
knew that I could do it there. But before that happened, I was invited to the Clinton inauguration, and I was invited by the gay and lesbian political organizations. It was called the Triangle Ball, and it was fabulous because it was all us gays and we're dancing, and most of those balls are really stuffy. This one
It was
was really
fun.
rocking, and I was up on the balcony and they handed me a microphone. People were talking. Katie Lang had just talked, and I was like, wow, I'm so happy to say I'm a lesbian. Woo. And there it was the next day. It was in small print at the bottom of the paper, but it eventually just
And
came
then I
out.
feel like everywhere you went, you had like the Laverne L. Like, I don't know if you know that
Yeah,
you signed up, that is L.
lesbian.
There you are, right there.
I had to talk about being gay, and I was the only one talking about being gay for about 5 years.
Right? Isn't that wild to look back at now? Like, God, that's just bizarre to me.
I love how many artists, I love how many people are out. I love that it's like gay people born every day. This is just going to happen. We've been here since the beginning of time. We're not going away.
Just love
Let's
is
just
love.
understand the difference. Let's
Yes.
just understand.
What would be the thorn in your career if you had to come up with one?
Wow.
Maybe there's not one.
I can't think of one.
Okay, we don't need to go that way. You mentioned cancer, and today,
Mhm.
Melissa, oh my gosh, one of my best friends called me. Now her cancer's gone to stage 4, triple
Hmm.
negative. This is, again, it affects everybody. You went through it, my mom, all my
Mhm.
best friends. But anyway, I told her I was talking to you today. Again, everybody's cancer is different. Everybody's treatment's different. I'm
Yep.
interested in your light that is in you. What tools can we share with our listeners? Anything on the inside that helped you pull through all of this? Any light, any fun weed, give me something. Whatever you did, I need to know.
Yeah. I would say most of it is in your mind. Most of it you can do in your mind. And it's about changing your mind and whatever it takes. I found plant medicine to be extremely helpful. I didn't really smoke cannabis before I was diagnosed. I smoked a little bit. I was starting to kind of smoke it just like months before, but not regularly like I do now. And also there's psilocybin.
Yeah.
Now, what these things do, it's not. This is not a cure. This is an alignment for a person. It's my belief, and again, always different. Everybody's different, but my belief that cancer and all degenerative diseases, which are just dis-ease, that all of them stem from us being out of alignment with ourselves, us being away from ourselves, us not doing what we know we want to do, and what is going to bring that light, what's going to make that light shine in us, because that's the only thing. We can't save anybody, we can't change anybody. All we can do is clear the crap out so we can shine our light that's in all of us. And that's where plant medicine comes in. It helps us get out of our left brain, which is I got to do this, which is all the future
Yeah.
worry and the past regret. That's your left brain. It quiets your left brain so that your intuitive brain that knows you are not your body,
Yeah.
you are a soul that you just want to be connected with.
I think that's so beautiful. Melissa, anybody, any of our listeners, if they get the diagnosis, they just got it, let's just say,
Mhm.
what would you say to them?
Well, I would say what the woman that did my biopsy said. She was the radiologist, I think, the one that looks, and she was a friend, but she wasn't a good friend. I just had known her. She helped us with our couple babies. So she said, Melissa, well, usually we wait, but I know what this is. I've seen enough of this, and mine was really thick and hard and everything. And she knew. And she said, I just want to tell you, you're going to be fine. You are going to be fine. And she then unbuttoned her blouse and showed her double mastectomy that I didn't know that she had.
Yeah.
And she goes, this is the worst that can happen. And she goes, and I'm fine. And I started my journey with that. If you start your
I
journey with,
like that.
okay, I'm going to be
I'm
fine.
going to
This is
be
not
fine.
I'm not dying tomorrow. This is a sign. My body is giving me a sign. Hey, it's time to change. And I had enough doctors tell me sort of offhandedly that I always go, there's nobody knows why, but people that make a change are the ones that survive.
I really believe that my mom is a survivor. She had a double mastectomy years ago, Melissa, before people were even talking about it. And she believes cancer has eyes. And her thing
Mm,
is positivity. She's like,
yeah.
you got to choose where you're going. And it can't hurt to at least be that way. So thank you for that. Let's talk about your new album. I mean,
Mm.
you Johnny Cash this thing, my love. Let's talk about I'm Not Broken. Do you want to talk about the music first or performing in the prison?
Oh, that's funny. Well, it all kind of goes together because the project was something I'd wanted to do for decades. It started when I was a kid in Leavenworth, Kansas. If you know Leavenworth,
The
oh,
prison.
that's where the prisons. Yeah, prisons, the federal penitentiary, the army, the state. So within 20 miles of my home was 5 prisons.
Wow.
So when I was very young, when I was about 7 years old, Johnny Cash came to our federal penitentiary, which was about 2 or 3 blocks from my house. I could see it at one point from my backyard. And he came, but nobody else got to see him, just the prisoners. And so he came and left. And I thought, wow, prison must be a place of fine entertainment, because that's a big deal.
Forget the
Nobody's ever
Hollywood
come to
Bowl.
it.
I know where I'm going.
Yeah, no one's ever come. So I was like, someday I'm going to perform in a prison. Well, a few years, I know.
That needs to be a T-shirt. That's great.
A few years later, I was a teenager, and I actually got to go into those prisons with some variety shows that were around the town, and I would sing and play for them, and they were so appreciative and delighted and excited, no matter what we did. And I thought, these people are just aching for entertainment. And that really stayed with me. And in the 90s, I actually befriended Tammy Wynette. And for a while, we were going to do it. And then she got sick and died.
Oh, man.
So I know. So then years go by and I had a new management. And I told them, I said, this is one of my lifelong dreams. I would really like this to happen. And after a few years, then about 3 years ago, it started, okay, we got a green light from the prison. So then Paramount Plus and MTV said, okay, we want to film it
So great.
because that's going to give us the money so we can actually put up a whole concert. And then we got Sun Records who said, hey, we'll record it and we'll release it. So I got enough money to go in and do a really full-on concert in this prison. And it was
the acoustics.
It was lights, it was the sound, it was the full band. I've always wanted to do a live album too. So this whole, like I said, I'm anticipating because it's so exciting for me.
It's your heart. Did you feel Tammy at all when you're in there performing?
Did
you feel
who?
Tammy at all? And channeling you, who did you say you were going to sing in there with?
Tammy Wynette.
Yeah, I was like, God, did I fuck up that name too? God, Melissa.
No,
my
second wife was named Tammy.
Oh,
I
God.
was like,
oh God,
what?
No, why not? Why not? But I was like, wait, not her. Jumpstart. This shit's getting wild. Did you feel Tammy Wynette at all? Was there a moment? Did you think about her?
Yes, I did think about her.
Not the ex. Scratch that. Okay. Oh my gosh. What part of activism and awareness are we going to see in the doc?
I hope it makes you think about a new way to think about crime and punishment, and how our thought that, prisons are filled with people who did bad things. A woman's penitentiary is filled with 90% of women who had childhood trauma that then they turned to drugs to numb that pain, and then they committed a crime for the drug habit.
And never had a chance.
And there they are. 90% of them. So basically it's mental health. The warden told me that. She goes, this is mental health that I'm doing here. This is not punishment. We are trying to get them to a place where they can get past their trauma so they don't go back to the drugs.
I'm so excited about your new album, your new music, the doc. Mm-hmm. I'm still laughing, Melissa. That was so funny. You looked at me like, what the hell is this girl doing?
I was like, did she just say that? It was me that didn't remember.
Then my brain, I'm like, Tammy Wynette, right? But I was like, shit, I just screwed this in. That's so funny. Okay. One quick game before we go, my rock star, existential cowboy. Let's get random, Melissa. Here we go. Favorite vice?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know, would you call cannabis a vice?
No, I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
really
I don't
fun.
think so. I think it helps me
Yeah, but
very
that
much.
could be good. That could be your one.
To me, vice is like sugar. That's a vice for me. So the bento box at Nobu is probably my favorite vice.
That's a winning one.
Yes.
What scares you?
Ooh, the only thing I'm afraid of is fear. I know it's the old Roosevelt, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, but it's so true because it is people who are fearful that will give other people their power. And that's where politics becomes harmful to gays and lesbians, people of color, because there are so many people that don't understand, that are fearful because they don't know them. So the damage comes from the fear. So the only thing I'm really afraid of is fear.
What is your favorite guitar and what's her name? Is that her behind you? I like that one way in the back.
Oh, this is a nice one. This was in my Nowhere to Go one. That's fun, but not my favorite.
Oh,
Probably
what's your favorite?
my favorite is On the Road with Me, and it's always on the road. It's this certain color. It's like a seafoam green, turquoise color, and it's a 12 string. And Jerry Jones made it. It's his brand of guitar. And he only made guitars for a few years, and it's the only guitar like it. He made it especially for me, and I called it Trouble back then because it was 90. I think I got it 94. And I recorded I Want to Come Over on it, but I still play it live because nothing sounds like it. So that's probably
Do you
my
name all
favorite.
your guitars or no?
I name my electric guitars. I have so many acoustic Ovations. That's the Ovation Adamas. That I get one like every couple of years. I said I can't name
it. Too many.
I go through them too quickly.
Craziest celeb hookup.
Now, when you say hookup,
Just a kiss. Any fun make out.
She wants me to kiss and tell.
Or you don't have to.
Or you can.
Or you can, my producer's saying.
Yeah.
She's like, come on, Foxy. Or you can. You don't have to. You can plead the fifth. You want to move on?
Moving on.
Okay.
That means it's good.
That means it's a good one. That means, guys, we know.
Really
okay.
good.
That'll be for when you and I go out for drinks. Okay. How do you blow off steam?
Oh. Music. I usually pick up, like if I'm in a situation, which I rarely get anymore, where I get really worked up about something, I'll definitely walk away. Confrontation is ridiculous. That's just asking for more. I'll walk away and I'll either listen to it or go outside, just change where I am. That's what I do. And I can usually breathe.
What's in your bedside drawer?
Oh, there's some books. There's, some stuff.
Yeah. We've gotten the funniest answers to that one in this podcast, Melissa. Oh my gosh. That's some good stuff. All right. How about this one? Bucket list artists you'd love to collab with that you haven't yet. There's been so many great ones, but is there just somebody on your list?
Oh my God. I was listening to the radio the other day and Chris Stapleton came on.
He's
like,
just at the
damn,
Bowl.
I want to sing with him.
My producer just saw him last night at the Bowl with her son, and she was talking about the way his wife looks at him. Morgan, they lock eyes and they don't look away.
Yeah, he's the one I want. He sings from his soul.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do
just
that.
like you, my friend. Okay, fill in this blank. Aging is what?
Aging is delightful because I learn so much and it gets easier. And you let go of the silly crap that used to drive me crazy about how I looked or what my body looked like or what I was wearing, all that stuff that I spent so much energy on. You can let that go and go, silly me.
Yeah.
And really, really get to the juice of life.
Final question, my love, and I can't thank you enough again for coming on. What makes you happy?
Life. The thought of life, the thought of how life works, what this reality is and how it works, and how I absolutely have all the control and I have all the power. And it's up to me. I have so much power that I can be powerless, but I know that it's all up to me and it's my choices.
Melissa, what a life full of love, full of everything. Your new album, the new show, it's all better than ever. I just thank you for the bottom of the heart for coming on and sharing all this. Everybody here at the Coop is freaking out that you're on. This is a big day for us, so thank you so much.
Well, it was fun, and you all got to come see me.
We're coming, and we're coming backstage, and it's going to get rowdy.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Thank you so much, my friend. Mwah. Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you. Be well.
You too. The best. Wow.
Wow.
Let me bring in my producer, Harper McDonald. Is she the most soulful human being you've ever met on this planet?
I want to absorb every single word that she said. She lives in such a clear, beautiful way, right?
And she's been through so much to come out with such light with every aspect of her life.
Motherhood, music, activism. I mean, she's just always lived so purely and so out in front of who she is. I loved the story about David Crosby.
Oh my gosh. The paddle boat or
paddling a kayak over to meet her sperm donor
with some Mai Tais.
Didn't even know that was going to come out of that.
The night is young and so are
that
we.
rendezvous.
But really think about in the world we live in that she was so open that, yes, David Crosby's my kid's sperm donor. I thought that was so incredibly badass.
Yeah.
That was so neat.
I
and
agree.
that it could have been Brad Pitt.
It could have been in another life.
Those
would be beautiful kids too.
And what about her talking about being a mom?
Mm-hmm.
You and I talked a lot before going on the podcast to lose a child.
Mm.
Anyway, and lose a child from addiction and how she's navigating it.
It's the most painful thing to go through. And also to think about that he's a soul that is living beautifully and freely, and it affected me a lot listening to her talk
view
about him.
On that, I think, will help a lot of people. It brought us such comfort.
I agree.
Anybody that's lost a loved one, I thought, as she said it, what are we in? We're just in these meat suits.
I know. It's just a moment in time. And at the very end, when she was just speaking about just that we are in this life, that is the thing that brings her happiness. Yeah. Life is the thing that brings her happiness, and how powerful she feels, and that it's all of our choices, and it is our life to live to the fullest, which she has since she was a young child, playing in Pasadena,
in
our whole
right
town,
around the corner with that beautiful mullet. Harper's so sick of me playing Bring Me Some Water. I mean, I have it on full blast 24/7. I can't get enough of it. What about what she said about aging?
It's delightful. It's delightful. And we can just shed all that crap that we don't need to think about.
That everybody worries about, that doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense.
I love listening to truly every single thing that she said. It just was so clear and so soulful and thoughtful. And I wanted more.
And she's got that swagger more than ever. Her new album is incredible, and the doc. She's just got it. Our soulful, existential, badass cowboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen.
She embodies all of it. She's anyway. I can't wait to re-listen because there was so much in that was just so real.
We're still digesting it, everybody. She is incredible. Harper and I will be going to the concert. We cannot get enough of her. Thank you so much, Melissa Etheridge, for sharing your time with us. Hope you enjoyed it on The Coop. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us, my chickens. If you like this episode, please give us a 5-star rating, drop in a great review, and tag us at The Coop with Kit Hoover. As well, you can follow us on social media at The Coop with Kit Hoover for behind-the-scenes content and updates. We will see you next time in The Coop. And remember, as my mom Bug always says, life is not a dress rehearsal. Make it count. Today's episode was produced by me, Kit Hoover, and Harper McDonald. Our technical producer is Christian Brown, and today's episode was edited by Christian Brown. Business development by Casey Ladd, and a special thank you to all of our sponsors.